All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's so nice to see all of you here tonight. We're going to continue to admit guests as they arrive. And we can use that time for me to talk to you about all the wonderful, fun things that we are doing this month for Member Appreciation Month. My name is Aaliyah Venick, and I'm the events manager here at the Science Museum of Minnesota. And as I think a lot of you know, this event behind the screens is part of Member Appreciation Month. And that's our way of saying thank you for your continued support of our mission to make science education accessible to everyone. And I will remind all of you of this before the event ends, but you can learn more about all of our fun events and programs if you visit our website at smm.org/thanks. We're doing something almost every day, and we love seeing all of your faces, even though it's remote right now. I also want to thank our presenting sponsor for the event tonight, and that is US Bank. We're so grateful for their support of this and some of our other member programs. And of course, most of all, we are grateful for you and for your support of our mission. Even while our in-person museum is closed, we're offering all kinds of fun programming for you virtually in the comfort of your own homes. So before we get started, I just want to remind you of a few different Zoom notes. I have all of you muted right now, and if you try to unmute, I'm going to mute you again because I have the control as the host. And I'll ask you to stay muted for the duration of the program, but towards the end, I'll open up the floor for some Q&As. And in fact, the easiest way to Q&A is to chat your questions. So if you look at your Zoom frame right now, you should be able to find the chat window. It's right at the bottom in the middle. And that's where you'll be able to add your questions and answers, and I will moderate that conversation as we go. So a couple of other little Zoom things. The optimal viewing for you tonight is if you look at the top right and click on the view button, and you should be able to choose a speaker view, and that will highlight the speaker as she or he is speaking this evening. So please do take a minute to do that. And then I wanted to mention tonight we're going to be looking behind the screens. I know that so many of you love and miss the Omnitheater, and I do too. And so I've asked two of my colleagues who work really closely with the Omnitheater to join us and tell us a little bit more about some of the background behind changes to the Omnitheater in recent years, and also how we make the choices for Omnitheater large format films that we show to all of you. So before we start that, what I'm going to go ahead and do, and before I introduce my first colleague, Chris Demko, I want to go ahead and show all of, I'm not going to do it yet, and show all of you just a quick, short 20-second video by our media specialist, Guy Dalby-Thomas, and that's going to just kind of put you in the mood for stepping virtually into the Omnitheater. So I'm going to go ahead, just bear with me for a minute here because I've got to, oops. Okay, just bear with me for a minute because I've got to mute myself and turn on the show. All right. Okay, sorry about that. So that is just a short little video sort of look at our behind the scenes. I know there was no sound on that one, but I know how to fix that. So don't worry about that. But first, I want to introduce Chris Demko. He's going to take you on kind of a virtual tour of the Omnitheater. And Chris is the manager of the William L. McKnight 3M Omnitheater and has been with our museum for over 18 years. He supervised the Omnitheater's digital dome conversion, and in addition, he advised on the technical and strategic operations of the Omnitheater. Today, he oversees its maintenance and upgrade schedule. And Chris, I am going to go ahead and turn my spotlight off and hand it over to you. All of you folks, just so you know, I'm driving the slideshow. So if Chris stops periodically to ask me to advance a slide, just forgive me for that. And Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Leah. I really appreciate it. I also want to thank
I think you're muted now.
No, I'm unmuted. I'm good. I see here. Want to try it again? Test 1, 2, checking. Uh-oh. All right, people can hear me. Boop, boop. Yeah, Aaliyah, thank you. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I know it's been a crazy year, and I think it's really awesome that we have so many members that have joined us tonight for this event. And just folks that are really interested in the Science Museum of Minnesota and want to learn more about it, even though we're kind of stuck in this weird COVID timeframe. So this is pretty awesome. There are some pictures that we have in this slideshow that I want to go ahead and show you. The first one that we get a lot of questions about is what the new projector looks like. And so you should see it on your screen right now. And to give you some reference, you can actually see the old projector in the background as well. The new projector is significantly bigger than the old projector. And rather than using film and a xenon lamp to illuminate it, this is all digital. And the projector uses lasers as its light source. Now, one of the interesting things about this projector, as you're looking at it, you can see the shape of it is rather awkward. Like the whole bottom of it is aiming down toward the ground, but then like the top of it is aiming up toward the sky. And there's a really good reason for this. The Science Museum of Minnesota had actually started beta testing a new projection system with Imax back in 2014, 2015 timeframe. And we actually had 2 of these large projectors in the upper booth of our theater. It's at the very top of the theater. There's a large booth up there. And we had them hidden behind these accordion doors. Nobody could ever see them. There was even staff in the museum that didn't know that these projectors were living there and existed. And we would work at night and during off hours. We had Imax come out from California, from their California headquarters, as well as their Toronto headquarters, to do testing on this system. And with the thought being that the projector was actually going to live at the very top of the theater in the back. And so when you're projecting on a screen from the back of a theater, you need your projector to aim downward toward your screen. So that's why the projector base is aimed downward. There's a lot of heat that gets produced inside of the projector with the lasers. And there's cooling hoses on the front of the projector that you can probably see. And that cooling and heat causes condensation. And unfortunately, that condensation has to go somewhere. So it all drains to a drip tray in the front. Well, we tested the system from 2014 until about 2018. And during this whole time frame, it became very evident that we would have to move the projector into the center of the theater where the film projector lived. And we call that the doghouse. The reason it had to move there was the doghouse in every dome theater is a universal location where the screen reference points all match perfectly with the lens point. The problem is when you're projecting from the doghouse, the projector has to aim upward. Now, if you took the whole projector and aimed it upward, you'd have all this condensate running backwards into all of the electronics of the projector, which is like a huge no-no. And so Imax actually had to design this projector to have this weird wedge inside of it so it would work in a dome theater. We can go ahead and switch Aaliyah to the next slide. I just see a blank slide. What happened?
Hang on.
No. Well, anyway, at the very top of the projector up here, I don't know if you can move. There it is. With this massive projector comes like this really huge lens. And there's an interesting story behind this lens. Around 2018, IMAX wanted to actually put a system in the doghouse of a theater, but we were like, heck no, we're running film. We can't take our system out and be a test guinea pig for about a year. Luckily, there was a theater in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Museum Center, that needed to close down because they had to do a massive repair on their building. So their theater was closed for almost a year. And IMAX took the system and made Cincinnati the alpha site. And luckily, I was able to be in Cincinnati the day that they installed the alpha projector, and they brought this lens. And I remember asking one of the technicians there from IMAX, like, how did you guys design this lens? Like, you know, how does this work? And he goes on to tell me a story about how the lens drawings came from some dome theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I was like, that's my theater. So this lens that's on our projector is designed specifically from the theater drawings of the William L. McKnight 3M Omnitheater, and it is the one and only lens that is duplicated and gets used at every dome theater in the world that has the IMAX system. So it's kind of cool to think and say that we have a little piece of history that's notched into IMAX going forward here. All right, we're good with the next slide. This picture right here, it's a little dirty looking picture, but there's two questions we always get about the dome in the theater. Many people know it rotates. The first question we always get is, why do we have this rotating dome? And in order to really understand that, we have to go back to the late 90s when we were moving to our new location here on the riverfront. Back then, we knew that our audiences loved our dome. It really has become a piece of the culture of Minnesota. And so we knew we had to bring the dome to the new location. But there was one factor that really came into play, which was the flat screen 3D movie industry. And we didn't know if that was going to take off and blow up and essentially take over the movie industry. And so we hit a crossroad at that point and really had to kind of determine, well, do we build two separate theaters in this new museum? That seems ludicrous. And so a team had done some research. They found a firm in France that had actually designed 3 of these rotodomes, one for Madrid, one for Barcelona, and one for Berlin. And that this is the system that we brought into the Science Museum of Minnesota, so that at some point in the future, we would have the capacity to run content on our flat screen if we ever needed to or wanted to. But what you can see in the picture here, it's a very simple mechanism. It's driven by a 5 horsepower motor, which is the piece on top that has kind of the waffle looking grate that you can see. And that's connected to a gearbox, and it drives a giant worm screw. And so it pushes the screw out to kind of pivot the dome up into its resting position, and it'll pull that screw back in to pull the dome back down into show position. The second big question we always get is, why do we run it for every single show? And I would venture to say that at first, in the early 2000s, we did it because we could, and it was cool to see. And now it's really become a part of the experience that visitors love. There have been a handful of times over the years where the dome hasn't rotated, either due to us waiting for a part to come in, or maybe even a movie that runs a little too long so we can't rotate it in between. And it's always funny because you get the person who, I just happen to have Aunt Florence here from Washington State, and we came to show her the dome move. But really, the biggest reason we do it is so that we know that it's working every single day. If you leave it sit, the parts can corrode, they can get sticky. When you have to move it, it might get stuck. But moving it every single day allows not our visitors, our staff that work the theater to actually listen to it and smell it and know exactly what it should sound like on every rotation. So if there's even an inkling that something might be wrong, we can get in there immediately and start troubleshooting it. I have another blank slide. I guarantee all these slides worked. The next one I'm going to talk about, and I can talk while Aaliyah's trying to find the picture. The next one I'm going to talk about is the sound system in the theater. Not that one. That one right there, yeah. These are the subs. So we couldn't climb on the dome to actually get pictures of the speakers themselves because I like to keep my feet on the ground, and climbing the dome structure terrifies me when I have to do it. But I was okay climbing the structure on the back of the flat screen here. And these are the subs. So there's a total of 8 cabinets. Right now you're seeing the top row of them. They're stacked 4 at the bottom, then 4 on top. And these new speakers just put out so much power. The old system was close to somewhere between 12 and 14,000 watts of power. And this new system, I don't know what it is, but I do know it's higher because we asked if we could keep our old speakers because they were still in good shape. And unfortunately, the new amplifiers would have blown them out. So we can go to the next one. Here's the last picture I have for you. That giant upper booth at the top of the theater, after we took those beta projectors out of there and kind of left the booth, it was a big open vacant space, and we were really struggling with what to do with it. And what we have done is really turned it into Event Central. One of the biggest questions that we had received over many years is, can we run events? Can we do meetings, all of that type of stuff? And what we have now set up there is phenomenal. We have point tilt zoom cameras that can move around to actually focus in on a speaker who might be behind a podium. We have 2 cameras that can focus in on the audience for Q&A. And we're set up with Zoom. We were set up with Zoom back last fall, fall of 2019, before Zoom ever became a thing in people's households. But we, at that time, were the biggest Zoom room in the world when we got set up. So we really do have the capacity now to run state-of-the-art events through this digital projection system. And I hope one day that you can all come in and check out an event. Aaliyah, you're muted.
Gosh. Okay. I'm so sorry. What I was saying was we're having a little trouble with one of my monitors, which is probably really apparent. So I'm actually going to switch over to another one. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to ask Chris a couple of quick questions that are coming into the chat. I think all of you can hear me now. Chris, can you just give me a thumbs up if that's the case? Wonderful. All right. So, Chris, I'm going to just invite you to respond to a couple of these questions really quickly right now. I don't know if you can see them, but Sherry was asking, and this actually gets to something we're going to get to next, but how many theaters around the country show Omni films that are laser versus film? And will any of the old film movies be converted to laser?
Those are good questions. So when we converted in the fall of 2019, we were actually the 3rd dome theater in the world that had converted to the new Imax digital laser projection system. San Jose was the very first, then came Cincinnati as the 2nd. We were 3rd, and then COVID hit in March. And I know in the last year, speaking with colleagues, that St. Louis has come on board, Boston has come on board, and Fort Wayne, the McWayne Center in Alabama has come on board as well. So a total of 6 dome theaters that were running IMAX before have now converted over to the new IMAX laser projection system. A lot of the other theaters are still in the stages of pulling together donative funds. We got the ball rolling really early. We knew in 2012 that we needed to start doing our research. And so we started, we hit the road in 2012 and started learning everything we could about the various systems that were out there at the time and what was coming on board. But other theaters, other locations in the world just haven't been as quick to start the fundraising process.
Great, thank you, Chris. So I think, hopefully you folks can all give me a thumbs up and say you see the coming attractions screen on the slide now, or maybe just Chris can. Wonderful. So we're gonna go ahead now and transition to the next stage of our program. Thank you so much, Chris, and folks, I wanna let you know that during the Q&A, you'll have more opportunities to ask questions of Chris, but I wanna introduce now Amber Stevenson. So Amber has been with the museum for almost 2 years. She's the director of traveling exhibits and exhibit sales. And in this role, she manages a portfolio of traveling exhibits and projects for partners and partner museums around the world. She also advises on the Science Museum's exhibits and Omni programs. And I've asked her to come here to talk to you a little bit about how we select some of the large format films that are shown at the Omnitheater, and also what some coming attractions might be. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Amber.
Thanks, Aaliyah. Hello, members. I'm very excited to be with you tonight. As Aaliyah mentioned, my name is Amber Stevenson, and in addition to working with the Science Museum's collection of traveling exhibits that we bring to other museums across North America, I work with our team at the museum to select special exhibits and films for our Omnitheater. And so our team meets regularly to search for films that complement our exhibits and our programming, and to vet options on our, and we kind of start this out by looking at them on our tiny computer screens. And then once we develop a short list, we review them with a cross-departmental team to get feedback and test reactions on the big dome screen. And the Science Museum is a founding member of the Giant Dome Theater Consortium, and we're one of 7 museums that work together to produce films. And once you come back to the museum, you'll be able to see the ancient caves and volcanoes, Fires of Creation, which are 2 films that are produced in part by the Science Museum of Minnesota. And now we'd like to transport you, as long as our technology works, as only Omnitheater films can do, out of this Minnesota winter to a new place by sharing a few options that we're considering for the next year. And we're going to start with Volcanoes, Fires of Creation, in an effort to really try to warm everyone up. This film is brand new. It's, as I mentioned, it's co-produced by the Science Museum of Minnesota, and it'll be available to view as soon as we reopen. So it looks like Aaliyah's going to fire that one up.
I'm so sorry. Yep.
Volcanoes are astounding forces of nature. They possess the power both to destroy and to create. Throughout the ages, we built our cities in their shadows, drawn to their rich soils. From the depths of the ocean to grasslands and tropical forests, volcanoes help shape vibrant ecosystems. Join National Geographic photographer Karsten Peter and his team as they go where few would dare.
The whole thing is rumbling, the whole earth is shaking. It's absolutely incredible.
Discover the exciting science behind the Earth's origins. Every rock tells a story, so imagine what this one will reveal. Now playing on Imax and giant screens.
All right. And the next preview that we'd like to show is a film called Backyard Wilderness. And while you're watching, if you want to put in the chat any of the animals that you have seen in your backyard or neighborhood, we'd love to hear from you while we're taking a look at that film. preview.
Imagine a place where hidden wonders await discovery. Welcome to my backyard. Experience nature closer than ever before. Be immersed in the countless relationships that keep us alive. Discover that Wi-Fi is not the only connection that matters. And step outside into backyard wilderness. Now playing on Imax and giant screens.
Great. So another film that we're very interested in bringing to the Omnitheater is called Dinosaurs of Antarctica. As you're watching this one, see if you can identify any of the dinosaurs in this preview.
It's the coldest, windiest place on Earth. But Antarctica's wilderness was not always frozen. Discover an ancient realm of midnight suns, night hunters and river monsters. A prehistoric kingdom lost to time and ice. Join a new generation of scientists on an Antarctic adventure to uncover a hidden dinosaur story. A cinematic journey from today's frozen desert to a lush South Polar world of giants. Welcome to the dinosaur continent of Gondwana. Welcome to Antarctica.
All right, it looks like we have some really good guesses in here, and I don't know, Aaliyah, if we have a bigger list. I have a list of a couple that are in here that hopefully I can pronounce. I have that Dr. Alex Hastings tells us that the early Jurassic dinosaurs featured in this trailer include Glacialosaurus, which was an herbivorous two-legged dinosaur with a long neck, and it was kind of in the beginning of the trailer. And then we also know that there's a Cryolophosaurus, a theropod carnivore with the head crest. And then another note is locally we have Dr. Peter Makowicki. He's a paleontologist. I hope I said his name right too.
We were debating about how to say it.
He's a paleontologist in the film, and he also works at the University of Minnesota. We're really excited about that one. And then the next preview is for a film called Back from the Brink. And as you're listening, see if you can guess the name of the celebrity narrator, or see if you can guess the name of the species of the monkey, and you can put that in the chat.
All around the world, entire species of animals are vanishing. But it's not too late to save them. This is the story of 3 remarkable successes. Of animals brought back from the brink of extinction. Off the coast of California, the tiny Channel Island fox. In the mountains of southwestern China, the Yunnan golden monkey. And on tropical Christmas Island, the famous red crab. Now experience the powerful true story of how we came together to save these animals and their habitats. Join us for a journey of discovery, innovation, and success. Back from the brink, saved from extinction. With narration by Claire Danes in Imax and Giant Screen Cinemas.
You might have just heard that was narrated by Claire Danes. And the monkey is called a golden snub-nosed monkey. Next, we're going to watch a preview for Into America's Wild. And if you've been stuck at home for a while, I think you're going to enjoy this one. Chat us if you can recognize or have been to any of the featured locations.
All around the world.
We were born to explore. From the earliest adventurers to today's modern-day trailblazers, our curiosity moves us forward into the great unknown, where a vast and beautiful wilderness is waiting to be discovered.
I was chasing down a dream, like you always taught me to.
The creators of National Parks Adventure invite you on an exciting journey into the natural wonders of America.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love.
Join astronaut John Harrington and Alaska native Ariel Trito as they explore the great outdoors. From ancient homelands and hidden trails to the wilds and our own backyard. Take a step off the beaten path into nature's secret wonders and find out what it means to be at home in the wild.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love.
McGillivray Freeman's Into America's Wild, a film for Imax and Giant Screen Theaters.
You probably guessed the narrator of that one too. We have Morgan Freeman narrating that. And I see some correct answers here. I'm putting into the chat some of the locations that are featured in that film. And lastly, we're very excited to do experimenting in the Omnitheater. We have a lot of fun ideas, and Chris mentioned that we're now set up to have giant dome Zoom meetings. And with that, we can talk to scientists around the world, and we have other thoughts on events and fun things that we can do in the Omnitheater to kind of do some experimenting. And if you'd like to think about some wild ideas you might have and put them in the chat, while we're taking a look at the next preview, what we're about to show you is kind of an unusual film that we're considering. It's called Mesmerica.
want this experience to inspire you into taking a journey with me inside your mind, to engage your senses with this miraculous alchemy of sound and light. Allow your mind to take a journey.
All right. Those were a lot of fun, and if you'd like to chat some of your favorite titles in this chat over here, we'd love to hear what you enjoyed the most, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in the Omni Theater soon.
All right. Well, I'm seeing a few. If this helps us, we love being able to show all this stuff to you. So please do, as Amber mentioned, chat us your thoughts. Oh, Linda says she's coming to all of them. Back from the Drink. Oh, so many good ones. This is the two movies with kids in them. Those were my favorites too. Oh, someone chatted Butterflies. We didn't even show that one. Well, Amber, thank you so very much for sharing all of those with us. I think you have a lot of hard choices to make, and I can see, a lot of interest in Backyard Wilderness and the dinosaurs. I think what I'm learning from this is that people just love the Omni Theater. So I'm so glad that we're able to share some of these previews with you. I do want to mention too, if you had any issues screening them, I know the sound was pretty quiet on the first one. You can by all means look them up on YouTube. So I popped all the names of them up in the slideshow right now, and you can easily search those on YouTube and watch them again and again. So without further ado, I would like now to move to the question portion of the event. So I am going to take this down, and we're going to go full screen with our wonderful presenters today, Chris and Amber. Please feel free. I see some nice comments here, like it would be cool to have architectural tours of famous historic buildings, volcanoes, and backyard wilderness. If you have any questions that you would like to chat to us, now is a great time to do that. And that can either be about the technical aspects of the Omni Theater, plans that Amber and Chris are making. Maybe I can start by throwing out a question that I'll throw out both to Chris and Amber, and I'll start with Chris. Chris, what do you miss most about seeing people in the Omni Theater?
You know, can you hear me okay? Thumbs up. All right. That's an awesome question, and I really thank you for asking that one. You know, it's the excitement of people. One of the best things, and I tell this to my friends, family, anybody who's come in for a tour, people who know me know that my old office was actually under the seating deck of the Omni Theater, which is kind of a cave. I mean, let's admit it. It's kind of a very strange spot to have an office. But one of the best parts about that was in the mornings, you'd hear the little footsteps of the kids walking up the concrete steps in the theater. And then as soon as the theater went dark and the movie started, through the concrete, you could hear, whoa. And it always put a smile on my face. And it was like that key moment to start every day, just to kind of be like, this is why I'm here. This is why I do this. And this is why I absolutely love this place. Because you can just get kids so excited in the morning over something that to me is really quite simple. But it's just awesome. Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is hearing the audience's reaction through the concrete floor.
Amber, how about you?
Yeah, my office is directly below the Omni Theater, and so I would kind of I'd keep track of my day based on when I'd hear certain pieces of music, or when we had the Apollo film, I'd hear a big rumble of the space shuttle taking off. And yeah, I think my favorite part that I miss is just kind of coming in for the first time and just kind of looking around and seeing the excitement and getting ready for the film to start.
You know, Aaliyah, I have to say this too. I'm so sorry, but the kids' reactions are so funny. You'd see these school kids come in, and I remember one time, and this one will never leave me, but these young boys came walking in, and one of them goes, "Oh yeah, I have a TV that big in my house." And all I could think to myself is, no, you don't. But you think you're cool, so that's awesome.
How big is the screen, Chris?
The flat screen is 86 feet wide by 64 feet tall, and the dome itself is one of the largest domes in the world. It's 27 meters wide, so we're at like 89.79 feet wide.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm seeing lots of chats coming in now. Samantha asks if there will be options to see shows virtually. Chris, can you respond to that?
We're trying to work with some of the distributors to find some virtual content. Early on, when COVID first hit, a lot of the distributors were very happy to just give you the films to kind of keep people's minds on the theaters and the museums. But we're finding that they are now wanting money, which, you know, why not? But it gets a little tricky because the contracts, you've got to work through contract negotiations with lease agreements and track how many people are actually viewing a film, and then all of that stuff. But we are in talks with distributors at this time, and the Science Museum of Minnesota is currently working on trying to get some of our older films transferred over into a digital format. So, you know, I think COVID has kind of forced some of the distributors to think a little differently than they used to. They don't all have content in a digital format that's easy to just stream virtually, but they're starting to think about it.
Wonderful. Great. And folks, I know that we're kind of getting close to our time here, but there's so many great questions. I think we're going to run this until 8. And I will say thanks again to all of you for your member support, smm.org/thanks, if you want to learn more about our programming. And if you want to stay on, I think both of our guests are going to be with us until 8 o'clock. So I'll keep going with the questions right now. Tim Etter, hello, Tim, asks, what type of lasers are used in the projector?
They are that's a good question. They're not a laser that you pull off the shelf. It's one of the reasons that laser projection systems started out so expensive. They had to be specifically designed. And in the early stages back in like 2014, the cost was astronomical and through the roof. They've since now figured out a process where they can make more of these lasers. There's more of a demand for them. And so the cost has come down. But they are split into their own individual colors. We have red lasers, blue lasers, and green lasers, which are the 3 primaries that are used in digital presentations in order to create every color of the spectrum out there. One of the really cool things that the lasers do is they allow for the color gamut on screen to be amplified. So the color gamut is your reds, your oranges. You may look at a color spectrum and kind of just see you go from red to orange, but there's all of these colors in between. And one of the really cool things about the laser system is we can get like fluorescence on the screen now, which you could never do with just standard film running through the projector with a xenon lamp in the past. So I don't know the exact lasers, I'm sorry, but they're really cool.
That's a great answer. I want to point out, if you're watching the chat, to people asking about virtual Omnitheater experiences, Amanda Rothstein, who's our membership manager, just reminded me that the last wreath is available for free during Member Appreciation Month. So again, just visit smm.org/thanks to check that out. And Amber also posted, if you visit our smm.org and visit Omnitheater Extras, you'll also find some fun little goodies there. And it looks like some people have already done that, which is really wonderful. Okay. I am looking at the other questions here. I've got lots of great comments about the summer camps, about people just really missing the Omnitheater. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to take those now. You can also turn off your chat, your mic, or turn on your microphone rather, and ask them orally too, if you prefer.
I did see a question asking if we'd have OmniFest back.
Oh,
And
great.
and that is something that we definitely do want to bring back. We just have to find the right time in the kind of post-COVID world.
Oh, thanks,
So
Amber.
that isn't something that we're looking to abandon. We definitely want to do that again.
Great. Great. Oh yeah, somebody was asking about a night at the museum with all of the movies, with all night movies. Is that in the plans, Amber?
That would be fun. We'll add that to our list of wild ideas.
All right. Well, members, as always, we really, really value your oh, and somebody's asking for a virtual camp too. So add that to your list, Amber. Well, as always, we really, really value your support, and we thank you so much for being a member. We know that members miss the Omnitheater, and as you can hear, they miss you. We all miss you there as well. We're so grateful for your commitment to bold science, fun, and lifelong learning, and we appreciate your continued support. As I've already mentioned 8 million times, visit smm.org/thanks to see more of our events. And I also want to thank our presenting sponsor tonight, US Bank. And thanks to our wonderful presenters. If you want to, all of you folks can go down to the reactions button in the bottom of your screen, and you can virtually applaud everyone or send them a little party emoji or a little heart or a thumbs up. I think they both did a great job. So thanks. Oh, somebody's asking for a Rolling Stones concert too. So many great ideas. Keep them coming. Thank you so much for your support and have a wonderful evening. We'll see you again very soon.